Chapter 1. Introduction to Bloodborne's World and Creation. Bloodborne, released in 2015, stands as a masterpiece of psychological horror and gothic dark fantasy. Developed by From Software under the visionary direction of Hidetaka Miyazaki and published by Sony Computer Entertainment, it builds upon the studio's reputation for crafting challenging, deeply atmospheric experiences. The game invites players into a world drenched in mystery and dread, a city cursed by a plague that transforms its inhabitants and uncovers ancient, cosmic truths. Set in the fictional city of Yharnam, Bloodborne challenges the distinctions between human and beast, hunter and hunted, and reality and nightmare. Beneath its brutal combat and eerie streets lies a narrative woven with themes of eldritch horror, forbidden knowledge, and tragic fate. This is a tale told in fragments and symbols, revealed through exploration, cryptic dialogue, and the haunting remnants of those who came before. Bloodborne's rich lore beckons players to uncover the calamities that unfolded long before their arrival and the arcane secrets that shaped the city's downfall. Chapter 2. The Founding of Yharnam and the Healing Church. Long before the curse of the plague ever spread its monstrous horrors through Yharnam, the city was known far and wide for its miraculous healing blood. Deep within the land, hidden in the veins of ancient beasts and the roots of the earth itself, flowed a strange and potent blood that granted remarkable healing properties. The discovery of this blood transformed Yharnam from an unremarkable settlement into a beacon of hope and pilgrimage, attracting not only the ailing, but also ambitious scholars and mystics seeking to harness this incredible power. To oversee this newfound resource, the Healing Church was established, growing from a humble sect into an influential institution, wielding immense spiritual and political power. Its priests were entrusted with the administration and study of the sacred blood, blending rituals, medicine, and alchemy in their quest to alleviate suffering and extend life. The Church's influence seeped into every corner of society, shaping laws, beliefs, and even the development of new technologies to harness the old blood's properties. However, behind the Church's luminous facade lay secret ambitions and dangerous knowledge. Ancient tomes and cryptic murals hinted that the blood's source was no earthly origin, but a fragment connected to great cosmic beings known as the Great Ones, immense and alien creatures whose very existence defied human understanding. The Healing Church's leaders, blinded by zeal and thirst for power, sought not only to heal, but also to commune with and control these entities. Their rituals grew progressively darker, crossing boundaries that humanity was never meant to approach. In doing so, the Church laid the groundwork for Yharnam's eventual corruption and downfall, hastening the spread of eldritch influence and unleashing forces that would soon shatter the fabric of reality and humanity alike. Chapter 3. The Old Blood and the Curse of the Beast Plague. The uncovering and use of the Old Blood marked a turning point in Yharnam's history, both a blessing and a curse intertwined in its effects. This mysterious blood was believed to possess miraculous healing properties. It could cure ailments thought incurable and grant vitality that bordered on the supernatural. However, this power came with a price that many failed to recognize until it was too late. The Old Blood's influence was not merely medicinal, but transformative. Those exposed to it often underwent profound physical and mental changes, some marked by heightened senses or near immortality, but many cursed with horrific mutations. Over time, Yharnam was consumed by a terrifying beast plague, a malady that did not simply kill, but reshaped humans into savage monsters, dominated by bloodlust and instinct. Those afflicted lost their reason and humanity, becoming snarling abominations, half beast, half human, wreaking havoc in the streets that once pulsed with life. The curse was not a mere illness, but a complex affliction tied to the fractured connection between the mortal realm and the Great Ones. The old blood acted as a bridge to these alien entities, its use fracturing reality in ways unseen before. The healing church, desperate to stem the spreading chaos, yet unwilling to admit fault, founded the Hunters, elite warriors trained and equipped to hunt and slay the beasts each night, becoming the city's grim shield against fading humanity's collapse. This endless hunt, while intended as salvation, became a brutal cycle. Hunters themselves close to losing their minds and bodies to the same curse they fought. The story of the old blood and the plague is a grim allegory of human attempts to grasp forbidden power, illustrating how salvation can quickly curdle into damnation. It is a tale of cosmic horror, where human frailty is overwhelmed by forces vast and indifferent, and the very blood that promised rejuvenation becomes a conduit to nightmarish fate. Chapter 4. The Hunter's Role and the Hunt Begins. As the beast plague ravaged Yharnam, the city's response was formalized into a grim and structured ritual known as the Hunt. This was more than a mere military operation. It was a night-long procession where hunters, carefully chosen from the ranks of civilians, scholars, and clergy, ventured into the city's shadowed streets to eliminate the monstrous denizens. These hunters wielded unique weapons unlike any ordinary arms. Transformation was a key feature, allowing their swords, axes, and firearms to change shapes mid-battle to adapt to the unpredictable foes they faced. Their weaponry was often infused or made possible through the power of the old blood itself, blending archaic craftsmanship with arcane energies. Not all hunters were alike. Many carried their own motivations and personal tragedies, bound by duty or desperation. Though hunters sought to protect mankind, they were also prisoners in a cycle of violence and madness. The brutal nature of the hunt took a toll on the minds and bodies of these warriors, many of whom suffered horrific fates themselves. Central to the hunter's existence was the hunter's dream, a mysterious metaphysical realm lying outside the flow of time and space. This place offered hunters respite and recovery from their nightly horrors. Governed by enigmatic figures, most notably the Doll, a silent helper who aids hunters by channeling their vitality, and Gehrman, the longest surviving hunter who seemingly guides newcomers. This dreamland held secrets vital to understanding the cyclical nature of the hunt itself. The hunt was revealed not simply as a reaction to the plague, but as a deeply woven cosmic ritual designed to contain and suppress the influence of the otherworldly Great Ones. Each night, hunters, beasts, and cosmic forces clashed, tearing apart the fragile veil that separated humanity from nightmare. Yharnam's social order crumbled under the relentless violence, plunging the city into chaos and fear, where the hunting moon continually rose to signal a night of bloodshed and sacrifice. Chapter 5. Laurence and the Birth of the Healing Church's Dark Legacy. At the heart of Yharnam's tragic descent into chaos is Laurence, a key figure whose actions inadvertently sealed the city's fate. Laurence began as a student at Byrgenwerth, an ancient seat of knowledge and esoteric scholarship dedicated to unearthing cosmic truths. Disagreeing with some of Byrgenwerth's methods, Laurence founded the Healing Church, convinced that the sacred old blood was humanity's salvation, a divine gift to transcend mortal limits. His zeal and passion elevated the church's status, turning it into a powerful institution that shaped spiritual and political life in Yharnam. However, Laurence's crusade soon uncovered dark and forbidden knowledge. His experiments delved into rituals and blood rites that sought not just healing, but communion with the Great Ones. entities whose alien nature was beyond mortal understanding. His followers fragmented into factions, some advocating deeper contact with the Great Ones, others pushing for control and dominance through the blood's power. This ideological schism bred corruption and secrecy within the church's ranks, fracturing the foundation Laurence had built. Laurence's own fate became a grim tale of hubris and downfall. Consumed by the very blood he cherished, he transformed into a horrific, monstrous being buried deep in the catacombs beneath Yharnam. His creation of weapons such as the holy moonlight sword marked his lasting influence. Yet his monstrous form reflected the incurable corruption at the core of the church's legacy. Laurence's tragic arc serves as a powerful symbol. A man's noble intentions twined with forbidden ambition led to ruin and cosmic madness. The healing church's early vision of salvation twisted into a legacy steeped in bloodshed, secrecy, and the haunting whisper of the Great Ones. Chapter 6. Byrgenwerth and the Hidden Knowledge of the Great Ones. The roots of Yharnam's curse extend deep into the halls of Byrgenwerth, one of the oldest centers of learning and esoteric research in this world. Established as a prestigious academic institution, Byrgenwerth was dedicated to uncovering truths often hidden from ordinary knowledge, secrets that bridged science, occultism, and cosmic inquiry. Its scholars sought to elevate humanity by expanding consciousness and probing the nature of reality itself. As their studies progressed, the scholars discovered fragments of arcane lore pointing toward the Great Ones, otherworldly beings embodying vast cosmic powers beyond human comprehension. These entities were neither gods nor demons in any traditional sense, but incomprehensible intelligences whose motives and existence transcended mortal understanding. The old blood, the healing substance so prized in Yharnam, was ultimately revealed to be a vestige of this greater cosmic order, a link between humanity and these alien forces. Debates raged within Byrgenwerth over the implications. Some revered the Great Ones as enlightened deities offering transcendence, while others, including the wise and cautious Master Willem, warned of the perils and moral decay such knowledge could bring. Willem advocated restraint, emphasizing scientific wisdom over blind worship or reckless rituals. However, his warnings were largely ignored by ambitious students like Laurence, who broke from Byrgenwerth to pursue blood rites and communion with the Great Ones through the healing church. This ideological rift within Byrgenwerth encapsulates the fundamental tension in Bloodborne's narrative, the clash between human curiosity's thirst for forbidden knowledge and the enduring need to safeguard humanity's fragile sanity. The echoes of Byrgenwerth's hubris and its fractured legacy resonate deeply within Yharnam's architecture, haunting landscapes, and the madness stalking its survivors. Chapter 7. The Great Ones and Cosmic Horror Beyond Understanding. At the core of Bloodborne's haunting enigma lie the Great Ones, vast and alien cosmic entities that exist beyond human comprehension. Unlike familiar gods, the Great Ones do not operate within the bounds of human morality or reason. Their motives are inscrutable, their presence overwhelming. Contact with these beings induces madness, tears at the fabric of reality, and distorts the senses. Throughout Yharnam and its surrounding nightmares, the influence of the Great Ones is visible only in fragments. Cryptic glyphs carved into ruinous walls, dreamlike realms where natural laws falter, and monstrous transformations inflicted upon those who come too close to their eldritch truths. The arrival of the Great Ones on Earth was not an act of blessing, but an event that shattered the natural order, entwining humanity in fateful cycles of suffering and transcendence. The very old blood used by the healing church is a trace of their essence, both an invitation and a dire warning of the dangers inherent in meddling with alien powers. Among the Great Ones, The moon presence stands out as a silent overseer. It controls the hunter's dream and perpetuates the eternal hunt, balancing the forces of beasts and hunters in a cosmic cycle beyond mortal control. Other great ones, such as Murgo and Kos, symbolize sorrow and loss, their stories echoing themes of tragedy and celestial detachment. Encounters with these entities invite visions and illusions that blur wakefulness and dreams, challenging human perceptions of existence. This cosmic horror elevates Bloodborne's narrative beyond a battle of mere flesh and blood, unfolding instead as an existential struggle against vast, indifferent forces for which humanity is but an insignificant pawn in an endless game. Chapter 8. The Nightmare Realms and their role in the hunt. Existing beyond the mortal plane of Yharnam lie the Nightmare Realms, twisted, dreamlike dimensions that intertwine with reality through dreams, rituals, and eldritch gateways. These realms serve several grim purposes: places of imprisonment for maddened souls, battlegrounds where cosmic forces clash, and harbors of forbidden knowledge hidden from mortal eyes. Each nightmare obeys peculiar laws, shaped by the beings that inhabit them, and inhabited by nightmarish creatures born from human fears and the corruption of the Great Ones. A prominent nightmare is that of Mensis, where the hubris of human scholars took form. The nightmare of Mensis epitomizes humanity's perilous attempt to commune with the cosmos by performing sacrificial rites, including a forbidden ritual involving the severing of an infant Great One's brain, symbolizing a fractured connection between the mortal and the divine. Within this realm dwell the descendants of Byrgenwerth's scholars, who, in their pursuit of eldritch knowledge, lost their sanity and were warped into monstrous aberrations. This madness reflects the incurable cost of reckless ambition. Other nightmare realms, such as the Nightmare Frontier and the Hunter's Nightmare, force hunters to confront their darkest fears, insecurities, and past regrets. These surreal, ever-shifting domains blur the boundaries between life and death, trapping souls in endless torment and shaping their wills according to the curse's relentless grasp. By contrast, the hunter's dream is a unique realm of sanctuary and command, fashioned by the Great Ones themselves to oversee, rejuvenate, and perpetuate the hunt. While it offers solace, it also binds hunters in a cycle from which few escape. The intricate construction of the nightmare realms encapsulates the hopelessness and inevitability embedded within Yharnam's curse, reminding all that resistance to incomprehensible cosmic forces is ultimately futile. Bloodborne's world, in its essence, is a confrontation with the unknown, a gradual and somber acceptance of terrible truths hidden beneath the world's fragile veneer. Chapter 9. The Hunter and the Player's Journey. At the story's heart is the Hunter, an enigmatic figure arriving in Yharnam amid the city's unraveling nightmare. Unlike traditional heroes bearing defined pasts and destinies, the Hunter begins as a blank slate, shaped and defined by the player's choices and encounters. Their goal may be personal salvation, revenge, or simply survival in a world gone mad. As the Hunter ventures deeper into Yharnam's dark labyrinth of alleys, catacombs, and dream realms, they face not only the beasts rampaging through the city, but also unsettling transformations, kinship with the uncanny, and confrontations with cosmic forces beyond comprehension. The Hunter's progression gradually reveals the city's and the hunt's layered history, pieced together through cryptic messages, recovered lore, and interactions with both allies and enemies. Companions such as Eileen the Crow, a weary hunter bound by a strict moral code, provide somber guidance and reflect the toll the hunt exacts. Likewise, Gehrman, The aged mentor and first hunter embodies the weight of centuries of suffering and the cyclical inevitability of the hunt. Relationships with these figures test the hunter's resolve, while the monsters and great ones encountered serve as avatars of cosmic indifference and ruin. The player's decisions shape the hunter's fate, whether to embrace or resist madness, forge alliances, or walk alone. Ultimately, the hunter's journey is a meditation on ambition, sacrifice, and the fragile line between power and downfall, revealing Bloodborne's central tragedy: humanity ensnared and manipulated by cosmic forces beyond control or understanding. Chapter 10. Eileen the Crow and the Hunter's Code. Eileen the Crow stands as a solitary sentinel amid the chaos that envelops Yharnam, embodying the haunted conscience of the hunt. Clad in raven feathers and worn leathers, she is a veteran hunter whose experience speaks to both the brutality and the fragile humanity found within this endless cycle. Eileen adheres strictly to the hunter's code, a moral framework that forbids hunters from killing one another, highlighting an uncommon thread of mercy and respect even in a world steeped in violence. She dedicates herself to tracking down hunters who have lost their way, those corrupted by madness or transformed into beasts, seeking to end their suffering with a swift and merciful hand. Eileen's path crosses with the players as both a wary ally and a somber warning of the toll the hunt extracts. Her demeanor and lonely vigil reveal the crushing isolation that hunters endure and the difficult choices faced when confronting kin and kinship lost. Through Eileen's tragic narrative, players witness how even those most devoted to the hunt ultimately wrestle with despair, memory, and the fear of becoming monsters themselves. Her story exemplifies the delicate balance between compassion and ruthlessness that defines the hunter's existence, and reflects the emotional heart of a world unmoored by blood, secrets, and madness. In her unwavering resolve and tragic downfall, Eileen represents the fragility of identity amid the endless night of Yharnam. Chapter 11. Gehrman, first hunter and keeper of the dream. Gehrman, the earliest and most legendary of hunters, is a figure shrouded in mystery, sorrow, and the heavy burden of eternal servitude. Celebrated as the founder of the hunt, he now dwells deep within the hunter's dream, a realm outside time where he acts as a guide, mentor, and sometimes captor to those who enter. His weary presence is both comforting and unsettling, a man whose past is intertwined with the tragic origins of Yharnam and the hunt itself. Gehrman was once an ordinary mortal, but his exposure to the eldritch realms granted him knowledge and a cursed duty. The hunt serves as both his creation and his eternal punishment, a cycle from which he longs to escape. Dialogues with Gehrman reveal a complex character, riddled with regret for unleashing suffering upon the city and for the role he now plays in the endless cycle of violence. He wrestles with his own desire for release and the cruel demands of cosmic forces that bind him. Depending on the hunter's choices, Gehrman can become an ally offering final mercy, or a formidable adversary standing between the player and escape. His tragic story embodies the themes of sacrifice, guilt, and the weight of forbidden knowledge, encapsulating the sorrow-laden soul of Bloodborne's narrative and the enduring price of ancient ambition. Chapter 12. The Moon Presence and the Cycle of the Hunt. At the enigmatic center of Bloodborne's cosmic design lies the Moon Presence, one of the great ones whose inscrutable will shapes the eternal cycle known as the hunt. Silent and powerful, this otherworldly entity governs the hunter's dream and ensures that the endless procession of hunters and beasts perpetuates without end. Through subtle but unyielding influence, the moon presence decrees that hunters who fall in battle are reborn within the dream to continue their vigilance, blurring lines between life, death, and rebirth. This cosmic being's intentions remain mysterious. It is neither malevolent nor benevolent in human terms, but seeks balance and containment of the chaos unleashed by the beasts and humanity's reckless use of the old blood. The moon presence acts as an arbiter of order, maintaining the fragile cosmic equilibrium at the heart of Yharnam's nightmarish cycle. The player's final confrontation with this entity is pivotal, determining not only the fate of the hunter, but also the continuation or breaking of the hunt's loop. This encounter reads as a profound allegory about sacrifice, control, and the tragic repetition born of cosmic indifference. The moon presence's presence illuminates Bloodborne's themes of human agency, challenged by incomprehensible forces, framing the universe as one where freedom may be elusive against unyielding cosmic mechanics. Chapter 13. Murgo's Wet Nurse and the Tragedy of the Orphan Great One. Among Bloodborne's many tragic narratives, the story of Murgo's wet nurse stands as a profound symbol of loss, captivity, and the indifference of cosmic forces. Murgo is an infant Great One, an orphan celestial being whose very existence is shrouded in sorrow and mystery. Trapped within the nightmare of Mensis, Murgo's silent and vulnerable presence radiates a powerful, malevolent influence over Yharnam, exacerbating the curse plaguing the city. The wet nurse is a formidable guardian beast tasked with protecting Murgo, yet also enforcing the tragic stasis that keeps this infant Great One imprisoned. Cloaked in flowing black tendrils and wielding immense power, the wet nurse is both protector and executioner, preventing Murgo's awakening lest unimaginable destruction fall upon the world. The story of Murgo and its wet nurse reflects the complex bonds forged between celestial entities and the mortal plane. Bonds of both protection and imprisonment, birth and mourning. The failed rites to commune with Murgo sparked the nightmare of Mensis, unleashing devastating consequences and fracturing reality. For the humans caught in these cosmic tragedies, this tale is a reminder of hubris and despair, how reaching for divine secrets can imprison both child and seeker alike. The final confrontation with the wet nurse offers a poignant moment when the boundary between worlds is briefly lifted, revealing the heavy cost of cosmic reckoning and the fragile balance upheld amid eternal horror. Chapter 14. The Rituals of the School of Mensis. Among the various factions spawned from the intellectual heritage of Byrgenwerth, the School of Mensis stands out for its obsessive and dangerous pursuit of knowledge through forbidden ritual. Mensis scholars were fascinated by the prospect of transcending human limitations by merging earthly minds with the cosmic essence of the Great Ones. Unfazed by warnings and moral concerns, they delved into sacrificial rites and arcane ceremonies designed to break the barrier between mortal and divine. At the center of their most infamous endeavor was the Mensis ritual, a catastrophic attempt to summon and commune with the Great Ones by severing and harnessing the brain of an infant Great One, Murgo. Led by the enigmatic and deranged scholar Mikolash, Mensis pushed humanity into realms of madness and physical corruption, sacrificing their own sanity and bodies to achieve transcendence. The results were disastrous. Many members transformed into grotesque creatures, becoming twisted echoes of their former selves. The summoning fractured dimensions and intertwined the waking world with nightmare realms, intensifying the chaos enveloping Yharnam. Exploration of the nightmare of Mensis exposes the haunting landscapes and lingering horrors birthed from these rituals. The School of Mensis is a cautionary tale, embodying the fatal consequences of pride and arrogance. The insatiable quest for enlightenment can lead not to salvation, but ruin, when pursued at the cost of one's humanity under the vast shadow of cosmic entities. Chapter 15. Laurence's Fall and the Chapel of Anticipation. The tragic story of Laurence, the Healing Church's founder, mirrors in many ways the rise and fall of Yharnam itself, captured poignantly within the remains of the Chapel of Anticipation. This once hallowed sanctuary was the sacred site where early members of the church first gathered to partake in the rituals involving the old blood. The chapel stands as a symbol both of hope, a promise of divine healing, and of impending doom, where salvation and corruption intertwined. After Laurence's exposure to the old blood's corrupting force, his physical and spiritual transformation into a monstrous abomination represented the ultimate downfall of the church's lofty ambitions. The chapel, now a crumbling ruin overrun by eldritch horrors and stained with traces of blood rites, serves as a haunting monument to this fall from grace. Within its shadowed halls, remnants of altarpieces bear eldritch designs, twisted and malformed, reflecting the gradual decay of faith and identity. The spiritual unease imbued in this place invites somber reflection on the paradox at the heart of Yharnam's story, that the very means of salvation became the source of damnation. Laurence's legacy, anchored in the decayed stone of the Chapel of Anticipation, remains a sobering testament to the dangers of unchecked ambition and the irrevocable consequences of delving into knowledge and power beyond human comprehension. Chapter 16. Insights from the Messengers and Cosmic Intermediaries. Throughout Yharnam and the myriad dimensions linked by the hunt, small and strange creatures known as messengers appear ubiquitously. These peculiar beings are grey-skinned, slender humanoids with elongated limbs and large, expressionless eyes, moving silently and delivering cryptic missives, gifts, and items to the hunter. Far from being mere helpers, messengers embody the subtle mechanisms by which the mundane world connects to the cosmic realities shaped by the Great Ones. They serve as intermediaries, bridging the fractured planes of waking life, dreams, and nightmares, shuttling knowledge and power across these boundaries. Their nature is alien and indifferent, suggesting their motivations are governed by unfathomable cosmic laws rather than human concerns or compassion. Interactions with messengers provide the hunter, and through them the player, with insights into the layered mysteries of Yharnam, the mechanics of the hunt, and the implications of accessing forbidden knowledge. Their silent presence adds depth to the atmosphere, reminding all who dwell in this troubled world that they are but participants in a vast, ineffable cosmic order that neither welcomes nor resents their struggles. In this way, messengers enrich Bloodborne's mythos as subtle yet vital threads connecting players to the broader cycles of life, death, and rebirth that permeate the narrative. Chapter 17. Yharnam Society and the Descent into Madness. Yharnam was once a city vibrantly alive with prosperity, faith, and a belief in the curative power of the Healing Church's blood. But with the arrival of the beast plague, everything cracked and crumbled. Society was thrown into upheaval as citizens wrestled with the grotesque transformations of loved ones, the spread of madness, and a growing sense of existential dread. The church's authority, once unchallenged, began to diminish as rumors of corruption and dark secrets surfaced. Paranoia grew rampant. Suspicion turned neighbor against neighbor as individuals feared infection or betrayal. Violent factions arose in the power vacuum, some loyal to the church's doctrine, others rebellious or seeking to wield the curse as a weapon. Among the populace, whispers spread of rituals invoking the Great Ones and secret cults that worshipped alien deities, eroding cohesion and trust. The lines between human and beast blurred, not only in form, but in culture. Those unaffected struggled to maintain their humanity while coping with the horror enveloping their streets and hearts. The hunter's nightly vigil became both protector and oppressor, a grim symbol of society's fractured state. The city itself morphed into a living nightmare, reflecting the psychological torment of its inhabitants. Narrow alleys echoed with howls, and twisted flora crawled over crumbling architecture, manifestations of a soul corrupted. Yharnam's descent is a poignant reflection of how even thriving communities can unravel under the onslaught of existential threats and the lure of forbidden knowledge, offering a broader allegory of madness, fear, and sacrifice. Chapter 18. Important Figures. Lady Maria and the Legacy of Byrgenwerth. Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower is a figure who resonates deeply with the complex legacy of Byrgenwerth and Yharnam's unfolding tragedy. As a former student of Byrgenwerth and a skilled hunter in her own right, Maria's story embodies the painful cost of wielding forbidden knowledge and the emotional toll of confronting cosmic horrors. Serving as the enforcer of Byrgenwerth's secrets, she was entrusted with guarding truth so potent it threatened to unravel the fabric of reality itself. Her eventual withdrawal from hunting and self-imposed seclusion within the Astral Clock Tower reveals her profound remorse and weariness. When the hunter confronts Maria in battle, it becomes more than merely a test of skill. It is a clash between ideals, regrets, and the weight of sacrifice. Her struggles underscore the themes of atonement and sorrow that permeate Bloodborne's narrative. Maria's connections to the healing church and the wider blood-obsessed culture provide a personal dimension to the overarching cosmic horror, reminding players that behind sprawling mythos lie individual stories marked by loss and resilience. In Maria, the devastating consequences of humanity's reach for cosmic knowledge coalesce into a haunting, tragic figure, illustrating that power and knowledge come hand in hand with suffering and solitude. Chapter 19. The Legacy of the Fishing Hamlet and Cos. Beyond Yharnam's haunted streets lies another sorrowful tale, that of the fishing hamlet and the great one known as Cos. The fishing hamlet was a coastal village whose inhabitants lived in relative isolation but caught in the tides of the same cosmic forces afflicting Yharnam. The villagers revered Cos, a deity linked to the sea, describing it as a guardian and source of their livelihood. However, tragedy struck when Cos died, leaving the village bereft of its protector. This loss unleashed a curse that ravaged the hamlet, mutating its people into grotesque creatures and plunging the area into madness and ruin, echoing the fate of Yharnam, but with a distinct tragic flavour. Accessed through arcane exploration, the tale of Cos and the hamlet reveals the impassive nature of the Great Ones and the terrible consequences of divine abandonment. The villagers' suffering and the haunting remnants of their shattered community bring a deeply emotional and cultural layer to the narrative. Together, it paints a picture of humanity caught between reverence for cosmic powers and the indifference such entities show in return. Cos's story expands Bloodborne's universe beyond the localized tragedy into a cosmic tapestry of loss, cosmic hostility, and the fragile ties between mortals and unfathomable gods. Chapter 20. The Healing Church's Military and the Executioners. As the Healing Church's spiritual influence waned amidst the spreading plague and societal collapse, it reinforced its grip through a militarized arm known as the Executioners. These specialized hunter groups operated as the church's enforcers, tasked with purging heretics, rogue hunters, and anyone who threatened the church's authority or sought to disrupt the fragile containment of the beastly curse. The executioners were distinctive and fearsome, known for their grim armor adorned with symbols and barbed helmets that concealed all expression, enhancing their role as anonymous agents of judgment. Their methods were swift and brutal. No mercy was shown where the church's interests stood. Other factions, including the school of Mensis and outcast hunters, often clashed violently with the executioners, reflecting the fracturing of Yharnam's social order. This militant force exemplifies the church's descent from spiritual beacon to authoritarian overlord, driven by desperation to suppress chaos, even at the cost of compassion or justice. The executioners became as monstrous in reputation as the beasts they hunted, serving a frightened institution that increasingly blurred ethical lines. Their presence in the city's ruins and Gothic streets enhances the atmosphere of suspicion, oppression, and escalating violence that characterizes Yharnam's historical decline. Chapter 21. The Thumerians and the Ancient Chalice. Dungeons. Beneath the surface of Yharnam lie the labyrinthine chalice dungeons, vast subterranean complexes constructed by an ancient civilization known as the Thumerians. This long-lost society predates the Healing Church by millennia and serves as a foundational thread in Bloodborne's cosmic tapestry. The Thumerians delved deeply into blood rituals and communion with the Great Ones, constructing intricate underground cities filled with traps, guardians, and occult relics. Their architecture bears monstrous designs, merging organic and arcane elements that reflect their worship and fear of interdimensional entities. The chalice dungeons act as both tombs preserving their legacy and as prisons containing eldritch horrors. As hunters descend into these depths, they uncover layers of forgotten history, revealing how the influence of the Great Ones and the Old Blood shaped humanity long before Yharnam's modern crisis. The Thumerians' ruins and their eventual downfall are stark reminders of the cyclical nature of hubris. Civilizations rise on the ambition of transcending mortal bounds and fall into ruin, consumed by the same cosmic powers they sought to master. Their legacy provides crucial context and depth to the immediate horrors faced above, connecting local tragedies to an ancient and repeating cosmic drama. Chapter 22. The Blood-Starved Beast and the Mutated Horrors. Among the many tragic mutations that plague Yharnam's streets, the blood-starved beast stands as a horrifying symbol of the Old Blood's destructive power and the desperation of those cursed by it. Once human, this creature embodies the physical and mental ravages wrought by the beast plague. Its grotesque appearance, emaciated yet monstrous, covered in pustules and festering wounds, reflects a body pushed beyond natural limits, bled dry and driven by insatiable hunger. The blood-starved beast exemplifies the dual nature of the Old Blood, a substance once harnessed for healing that ultimately becomes a catalyst for decay and devastation. Its relentless fury and disease-spreading presence haunt neighborhoods where its tragic victims once lived. The creature represents the profound loss suffered by those caught in the Church's experiments and the catastrophic failure of human control over arcane power. Its existence is a potent reminder of fragility. The human body and mind, strong within limits, are vulnerable when struck by the maddening alien forces lurking beneath Yharnam. This theme of mutation and degeneration is woven throughout Bloodborne's story, illustrating the tragic collision of hope turned to ruin and the human cost incurred when salvation becomes a curse. Facing the blood-starved beast is both a personal confrontation with suffering and a cosmic lesson in the perils of ambitious hubris. Chapter 23. The Role of Insight and Madness in Bloodborne's World. Insight is a uniquely abstract yet vital concept within Bloodborne's mythology, representing not merely knowledge or awareness, but a profound awakening to the vast cosmic horrors cloaked beneath the veil of reality. Unlike conventional intelligence, insight captures the hunter's and other characters' levels of understanding regarding the Great Ones, the true nature of Yharnam's curse, and the thin boundaries between the waking world and the dream realms. As hunters gain greater insight, hidden horrors gradually become apparent. The grotesque forms of Great Ones, eldritch glyphs writ large upon the skies, and the veil between dreams and reality thinning to dangerous degrees. This expansion of awareness carries a heavy price. Increased insight often leads to madness or psychological fracturing. It challenges the mind's capacity to grapple with alien truths and can tip even stalwart hunters into despair or delirium. Insight's duality embodies Bloodborne's core themes of enlightenment versus ignorance. Deeper knowledge brings power and clarity, but also alienation, madness, and even doom, whereas ignorance offers a fragile peace but leaves one vulnerable to fate's cruel designs. Through insight, gameplay and narrative intertwine, as new monsters and environmental details reveal themselves only to those who pierce the surface of illusion, immersing players in a world where curiosity and survival exist in uneasy tension. Insight thus becomes a metaphor for humanity's pursuit of forbidden knowledge within an uncaring and vast cosmos. Chapter 24. The Doll and Healing. Church Workshop. Within the ethereal bounds of the hunter's dream stands the doll, a serene, silent companion and guide, embodying hope and tenderness amid overwhelming darkness. Crafted by unknown means at the Healing Church Workshop, a place combining ritual, arcane science, and craftsmanship, the doll assists hunters in channeling their vitality, fostering their growth as warriors against the beastly curse. Though expressionless and mute, her presence offers comfort and a fragile refuge amid the horrors faced outside. The doll's existence is intimately tied to the cyclical nature of the hunt. While she embodies innocence and care, she also represents the tragic price paid for wielding the blood's power. Her timeless watchfulness reminds hunters that while growth and healing exist, the hunt's burdens are unrelenting. The Healing Church Workshop, shrouded in mystery, is hinted at as a crucible where arcane knowledge and practical tools coalesce to equip and sustain hunters. It is a place of both hope and sadness, as those who pass through it prepare to face the endless nightmare beyond. The doll stands as a vital emotional anchor within this bleak world, a symbol of humanity's delicate grace persisting against a tide of cosmic despair. Chapter 25. Cainhurst Castle and the Royal Bloodline. Far removed from the darkened streets of Yharnam rises Cainhurst Castle, an imposing fortress steeped in aristocratic decay and the whispered secrets of a cursed royal bloodline. Home to the Vilebloods, one of the last surviving noble houses, Cainhurst stands as both sanctuary and prison for those bearing the dark legacy of the old blood's more sinister aspects. The Vilebloods are a faction distinct from the Healing Church, their history woven with themes of forbidden blood rites, ancient bargains, and dynastic ambition. The castle's history hints at the mingling of great bloodlines with cosmic forces, pacts forged with the Great Ones that brought both power and ruin to its occupants. This lineage is marked by pride and tragedy, illustrating how hereditary ties complicate Yharnam's larger cosmic curse and expand its implications beyond common folk to the highest echelons of society. Within Cainhurst's cold halls, players discover relics of past glories, confront the tragic figure of the castle's queen, and battle formidable foes shaped by desperation and delusion. Cainhurst and the Vilebloods enrich Bloodborne's universe by broadening its scope, showing how the Old Blood's corruption threads through various strata of culture, ambition, and decay, underscoring the pervasiveness of the city's curse. Chapter 26. The Influence of Cosmic Forces on Time and Reality. The world of Bloodborne is one where the familiar laws of time and reality bend and fracture under the weight of cosmic influence. Throughout Yharnam and its associated nightmare realms, the flow of time is distorted. Past, present, and future entwine in perplexing loops that defy ordinary logic. The hunter's dream itself exists outside linear time, serving as a nexus where memories, realities, and potentials converge. Within shattered and nightmarish dimensions, reality blurs with memory, cause and effect become uncertain, and some souls become trapped, endlessly repeating their fates without escape. These temporal distortions arise from the influence of the Great Ones and the consequences of humanity's reckless communion with beings beyond mortal reckoning. Time, as depicted in Bloodborne, is less a constant and more a prison, or a mask shielding deeper cosmic terrors. This fluidity underlines the central narrative themes and adds to the oppressive and disorienting atmosphere. No event is final, no destiny fixed, and release from the cycle is both sought and elusive. Bloodborne's story encourages reflection on the nature of fate, free will, and humanity's relentless yearning to master powers far beyond its grasp, often to tragic ends. The twisting of time and reality heightens the game's sense of cosmic horror, revealing the universe as an indifferent, inescapable labyrinth. Chapter 27. The Transformative Weapons and Hunter's Tools. Bloodborne's iconic weapons are marvels of craftsmanship that vividly embody the game's themes of transformation and duality. Forged by the Healing Church and its workshops, these weapons possess the remarkable ability to shift between multiple forms, adapting swiftly to the ever-changing needs of the hunter. For instance, a weapon might transition from a standard blade to a brutal cleaver. A pistol could transform into a compact firearm. A whip might extend or retract, and colossal greatswords can collapse into more manageable sizes. This transformative nature resonates not only with practical combat strategy, but also symbolically parallels the hunter's own liminal state, straddling the boundary between mortal and beast, hunter and hunted. These weapons draw their power directly or indirectly from the mystical Old Blood, requiring skill, endurance, and sacrifice from their wielders. Their versatility allows hunters to respond fluidly to unpredictable threats, reinforcing the game's emphasis on adaptability in a hostile environment. Moreover, the weapons embody the fusion of ritualistic blood magic and mechanical ingenuity, blurring lines between the physical and the arcane. This fluidity in weaponry mirrors the reality of Bloodborne's world, where identities and forms are in constant flux. Through their design and function, these tools become an extension of the hunter's own struggles against transformation and the unknown. Chapter 28. Chosen Undead and the Cyclical Nature of Bloodborne's Curse. A central motif woven throughout Bloodborne's narrative is the recurring cycle of cursed individuals, including the player's hunter, stepping into a relentless and tragic role within the hunt. These chosen hunters are drawn inexorably into an endless loop of violence, sacrifice, death, and resurrection. Through the influence of the Great Ones and the power of the hunter's dream, the boundaries between life and death, humanity and beast blur, trapping hunters in fates that are both their task and their curse. This cyclical pattern is intimately tied to the Old Blood's corrupting power and the cosmic manipulations that drive the hunt. No hunter escapes this fate untouched, Each becomes a link in a vast chain orchestrated by alien forces beyond human will. As hunters pursue beasts born from primal bloodlust and corrupted desires, they ultimately confront their own transformations, sometimes becoming the very monsters they sought to destroy. This endless repetition highlights themes of fatalism and cosmic indifference, underscoring that each hunter is both participant and victim in an eternal tragedy. Bloodborne's narrative allows for multiple interpretations and varied endings, reflecting the paradox of the hunt as both imprisoning and redemptive. Whether the hunter seeks release or acceptance, their journey embodies the existential horror and melancholy at the game's core, casting the hunt not as battle alone, but as a manifestation of inescapable cosmic designs. Chapter 29. The Final Confrontations and the Hunter's Fate. Bloodborne's climax challenges the hunter with pivotal confrontations that directly shape the conclusion of their harrowing journey. These final moments bring encounters with titanic cosmic entities like the Moon Presence, as well as revelations buried deep beneath Yharnam's darkened streets. The player's choices here determine their ultimate fate. They may break the cycle of the hunt, take on the mantle of a new cosmic guardian, or succumb to deeper madness and despair. These endings emphasize that knowledge and power in this universe carry profound burdens, and that true freedom may be elusive or illusory. The battles faced are not mere tests of combat skill, but spiritual reckonings, forcing the hunter to confront the consequences of their journey and the weighty history that envelops Yharnam. The conclusion places the hunter within the endless and tragic narrative loop. Whether as redeemer, prisoner, or ascendant force, they become an intrinsic part of the cosmic struggle. This final chapter encapsulates the tension between hope and despair, human agency and immutable cosmic inevitability. It offers a solemn yet enthralling closure, bringing full circle the sweeping lore and themes that define Bloodborne's vast and deeply moving mythos. Chapter 30. Conclusion. Bloodborne's enduring legacy and themes. Bloodborne stands as a profound exploration of cosmic horror, human ambition, and the limits of understanding. It weaves a complex tapestry of tragedy, mystery, and existential dread through its richly constructed world and deep lore. The story of Yharnam and its cursed hunt is not merely a tale of monsters and hunters, but a meditation on the pursuit of forbidden knowledge and the fragile boundary between salvation and ruin. Themes of transformation, sacrifice, and inevitability resonate through every corner of the narrative, inviting reflection on humanity's place within a vast, indifferent universe. The game's layered storytelling, filled with symbolic detail and emotional depth, continues to captivate players and inspire discussion. Bloodborne's enduring legacy lies in its ability to blend harrowing gameplay, evocative atmosphere, and profound mythos, offering a journey as intellectually challenging as it is emotionally haunting. The hunter's story is one of countless paths, tragedies, and truths, forever etched into the blood-soaked streets of Yharnam and the cosmic dream beyond.